and I was the Prime Minister of Chad, and I represented Chad here when the Naivasha peace agreement was negotiated and signed.
En 2015, j'étais ministre des Affaires étrangères du Tchad. J'ai pris part aux négociations et à la signature de l'accord entre les parties sud-soudanaises.
In 2015, when I became the foreign minister of my country, I also participated in the negotiations and also the signing of the agreement between the Sudanese parties, the South Sudanese parties.
En 2018, comme président de la Commission de l'Union africaine, j'ai pris part également à l'accord, le dernier, l'accord de 2018, toujours pour la paix au Soudan du Sud.
In 2018, when I became the chairperson of the African Union Commission, I also participated in the negotiations and also the signing of this 2018 agreement, again for peace in South Sudan.
J'ai eu la chance également d'assister le jour de l'indépendance du Soudan du Sud en juillet 2011.
I also had the opportunity of attending the celebration of the independence of South Sudan in July 2011.
Sincèrement, je me demande en tant qu'Africain, pas seulement en tant que responsable, pourquoi mes frères au Sud-Soudan se battent encore.
Sincerely, I ask myself, not only as an African or a leader, why our brothers of South Sudan are still fighting.
Est-ce que c'est seulement pour tous devenir président? C'est impossible.
Are we fighting for all of us to become president? It is not possible.
Qui ont lutté ensemble pour arracher leur indépendance et qui seulement quelques années après mettent à feu et à sang le pays qu'ils ont conquis.
Those who have fought together in order to achieve their independence, how a few years later they have put their own country in that kind of situation where they are fighting.
J'ai beaucoup discuté avec mon grand frère, le président Salva Kiir. J'ai discuté avec le docteur Riek Machar. J'ai discuté avec Bagana Moon. J'ai discuté avec Dengalor. J'ai discuté avec tous ses frères. La contradiction est peut-être superficielle. S'il vous plaît. Je crois que vous êtes la première génération qui a fondé ce pays. Le pape vous a lavé même les pieds, monsieur le président, vous et votre frère Riek Machar. Qu'est-ce que vous allez répondre demain à Dieu? C'est la question qu'il faut vous poser. Saint-Dieu est là pour vous aider peut-être à revenir à la sagesse. Permettez-moi ça, je l'ai dit en frère.
In fact, I've had the opportunity of discuss at length with my elder brother, President Salva Kiir. I had the opportunity of discussing with Riek Machar, with Begakun, with Deng Alom,
Bagana Moon, and others.
And what I've noted was that there is only superficial contradiction or differences between them. In fact, Mr. President, you will recall that even the Pope has washed your feet and asked for reconciliation. So the question is, how can we help you to bring about wisdom and then bring about the solution to the problem?
J'espère que cette fois-ci sera la dernière. C'est le souhait de tout le monde. Et je crois que vous avez tout expérimenté, et la guerre, et la souffrance. Il est grand temps de faire la paix. Que Dieu vous aide, que Dieu nous aide. Merci, Monsieur le Président.
In fact, this meeting, or this is a hope maybe of a last chance. You have witnessed and gone through everything. War, suffering, and all the difficulties that you've gone through. What we want is to see peace be established, be restored, and we pray God help you in this process. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Mohammed. On behalf of the heads of state present here, let me request my brother HH, the President of Zambia, to make very few remarks, and then in conclusion, President Achange to also make very few remarks, and then we will conclude. Your Excellency.
Thank you very much, President Ruto, President of Kenya, Republic of Kenya, President Salva Kiir, our brother, leader of Southern Sudan, and my fellow heads of state that are here, and I know prime ministers, senior ministers that are present, and partners. I use that term deliberately, partners from an array of groups that are working to bring peace, security, stability to Southern Sudan. President Ruto, congratulations for hosting this important process, but also to President Salva Kiir for allowing this process to take place. Some colleagues would have probably resisted that this process does not continue. I have no special message to give President Ruto other than to encourage the participants to this process, to encourage participants to come to the table in a genuine manner, in a well-meaning manner, and also to have within them a high level of tolerance. Irritations will always be there in a process like this, but it's important to be accommodative, to understand that there is no option to a peace process. There is none. In today's world, no one really wins a war. That's the truth. No one really wins the war. You may win a battle, but the war continues. Children are born, and instead of children going to school, they are preparing to fight a brother, a sister. I think that's not correct in our countries, on our continent. No one carries everything they come to the table when they leave the table. Give and take. That's the meaning of negotiations. Give and take. If you come to the table to take, you don't come into dialogue. You're coming to put fuel to the conflict. I'm talking generically. I have no specific reference point. All I know is that we're all delighted on the continent when Southern Sudan gained its independence. We understand the history, not as deep as the Southern Sudanese do understand it, not as deep as the other Sudan understands, not even as deep as Kenyans, Ugandans, Ethiopians, those in the region. But we on the Southern African part of the continent followed these processes, and we're looking forward to cessation of hostilities in the wider Sudan once independence was gained. We did not budget for what is going on in Sudan, and I think it was the right thing to do. We budgeted for peace, security, stability, for development. Simple. Peace, security, stability, for development. Resources are limited. The resource envelope is small for anyone, any country. How we utilize those resources must not be towards waging war, but towards building schools, health centers, food security, which we've been discussing. That's where the resource envelope must go. I really believe, President Ruto, you singled me out, so you know my mind, and I will rest with that said publicly. Instability anywhere is instability everywhere. We know it. We're all affected by the Russia-Ukraine war. So when you Southern Sudanese brothers and sisters are fighting, remember you are exporting problems to all of us. We would like to be part of the solution to help you restore stability and focus your attention on development. President Ruto, thank you very much. Thank you. Asante sana.
Thank you very much. President Todere from Central African Republic. Yes.
Excellences, Monsieur le Président Ruto, mon cher grand frère, le Président Salva Kiir, mes chers frères, je voudrais vous remercier le Président Ruto de l'opportunité qui m'est donnée de parler un peu sur la situation de discussion au Sud-Soudan. Vous comprenez que le Sud-Soudan et la République centrafricaine sont des pays voisins. Et aujourd'hui, la paix en République centrafricaine est aussi conditionnée par la paix au Sud-Soudan. Donc, le peuple centrafricain a également le regard tourné vers ses frères du Sud-Soudan. Et je suis heureux d'écouter les deux partis, l'opposition et le représentant du gouvernement, dans leur
Excellency President William Ruto, Excellency Big Brother President Salva Kiir, I would like to thank President Ruto for giving me this opportunity to say a few words on this situation obtaining in South Sudan and the discussions about South Sudan. In fact, we understand that South Sudan and the Central African Republic are neighbors, and things happening in South Sudan will obviously spill over and affect the Central African Republic and the neighboring countries. Today, if there is no peace in South Sudan, it also affects the peace in the Central African Republic. So all our eyes are also glued to, fixed on the brothers and sisters in South Sudan. And obviously I was very happy to hear the two parties, that is, the representative of the government as well as the representative of opposition, when they made their statements.
Je pense que la parole de Dieu dans Ecclésiaste dit il y a un temps pour tout. Il y a un temps pour faire la guerre, il y a aussi un temps pour faire la paix.
There is a time for everything. A time when you have been disagreeing and a time when you can make peace.
En les écoutant, je pense que j'ai fort espoir que le temps de paix est arrivé pour nos frères du Sud-Soudan, pour nous également, parce que cette paix au Sud-Soudan va conditionner la paix en République centrafricaine. Je les y encourage et je remercie aussi tous nos amis de Saint-Étidio pour tous les efforts qu'ils font, aussi bien en République centrafricaine qu'au Sud-Soudan pour le retour de la paix, et je vous remercie de l'opportunité que vous me donnez pour parler de la réconciliation au Sud-Soudan. Je vous remercie.
In fact, we've been listening to a message of hope that is there today in South Sudan. And peace in South Sudan will mean that there will be peace in the Central African Republic. So therefore, I would like to encourage all the parties. I would like to encourage also the Friends of St. Isidio community for making the necessary efforts to restore peace in South Sudan. I would like to thank you, Mr. President, for giving the opportunity to say a few words about this situation.
Thank you very much. Your Excellencies, you will forgive me for ambushing you, but the comments you have made look to me that you are prepared. To all of us who are here, let me say thank you very much for your participation. To the mediation teams, may wisdom, patience, and discretion guide your contributions to the mediation. I trust the chief mediator and his deputy to lead us towards a satisfactory conclusion with your participation. I pledge my unwavering commitment and availability to support this process at any stage of the mediation roadmap. Our goal is to secure a credible pathway to durable and sustainable peace for the Republic of South Sudan, our region, and our continent. Allow me, ladies and gentlemen, to request His Excellency Salva Kiir Mayardit, the President of South Sudan, to come and make the closing remarks and to speak to us and his people. Mr. President.
Your Excellency, William Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya, the chairperson of the Nairobi peace talks. Members of the non-secondary groups, distinguished heads of the state and government, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I would like to thank my brother, His Excellency President William Ruto, for accepting the role of resolving the South Sudan conflict through a mediation effort led by Kenya. The Nairobi peace process led by Kenya helped negotiate the comprehensive peace agreement which ended Africa's longest conflict. That peace led to the independence of the Republic of South Sudan at the end of the interim period in 2011. I am confident that these efforts will yield a similar result as the country prepares for the general election this year. Your Excellency, the peace negotiations I am opening today between the government of South Sudan and the whole-out opposition groups started in Rome 5 years ago under the Santo Egidio community. I must thank His Holiness Pope Francis and the Santo Egidio community for their efforts in trying to resolve the conflict in South Sudan. The current mediation effort led by Kenya will be anchored on a firm foundation laid by the Rome peace process. Your Excellency, South Sudan has some to negotiate in good faith and with an open mind. We hope that the non-sectarians Secondly, is opposition groups have a similar conviction and desire for peace in South Sudan, which when fully achieved, will bring everlasting stability and economic development in the region, and leave alone South Sudan, but in the region where South Sudan is situated. Thank you very much.
And with that, we will request to have a photo opportunity. So kindly allow me to invite all the heads of state to just come and take a photo together with the mediators and the chair AU, His Excellency Musafaki,